Yeah, that's true.
My father stabbed me when I was 12 with
With what?
the steak knife, actually.
You know
What?
better than that.
How did you provoke your father? How are you bad?
What? Why do you think what do you think I was? Oh man, I provoked him
I've
back.
known you
What
for
it
two
was?
hours and 20 minutes now, and it's a good guess.
Were you not talking into your microphone and he had enough?
My uncle had just gotten out of prison. All right,
Uh-huh.
he'd been in prison for 20 years.
Your father's
He-
showing off. Trying to
and
look cool.
Remember Chester the Molester, the cartoon character?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
My uncle Bobby looked like Chester the Molester. I was like 12, and my father hadn't come to the house. I was like, and I was him and my father went out over the hill. We're in Massachusetts, so I went to New York City to buy some beer. They got drunk. They took the family car. Bobby comes back. I'm waiting to go to Little League practice. Uncle Bobby's in the car. He never hasn't driven in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Both drunk as shit. They smashed the car into a tree in front of our house. So now I'm not going. Now I'm not going to baseball practice, and I'm shitty about it. We're at dinner, and my uncle Bobby had a stutter. He talked like, hey, Jim, and I'm 12 and I'm a smart ass, and my sister's got big knockers, right? And Bobby, can I date Karen? And I'm like, my father, they're just hammered, and I start fucking with my uncle Bobby. Hey, Bobby, pass the and my father just cut it out, you loser. My mother used to keep this tree of cups, coffee cups in the middle, and remember those steak knife holders in the carousel. My father gets up, comes over the table, and he swipes at the cups, and I grab it and I fucking throw it at him. And I pop him right in the head. My father grabs a steak knife and he lunges across the table, and I jump up and boom, right there right in the oblique, right? And, and the fucking thing is like wiggling, right? And I'm fucking pushing. I hit my father with a glass with a cup. And finally,
Jesus Christ!
I'm out of here. And that was I took off, man. I had a fort down by the river where I lived. Went there for 3 days, man. I wasn't hanging out talking to anybody. I just ran away.
My takeaway from that story: you owe me an apology. I knew it was you. I knew you did something.
The stutterer. So it couldn't have gone in very deep if you were able to hang out for 3 days.
Well, what happened was it was about maybe an inch and a half, but it's right here. Like he caught me right, and it got under the skin, so it hit the oblique and bounced off my hip muscle and got caught in the flesh, right? But it was in pretty deep, and I couldn't. It was like wiggling, so I ran. I went down to the fort, and I was trying to get it out, but it was serrated. So, and I was like, ugh. I kind of got it out, and I had like all kind of fishing gear, like fishing hooks and nylon wire. So I kind of like took it, and I took the hook, and I kind of knocked the barb off, and I kind of like 4 stitches in there.
None of this happened.
You're calling bullshit on this, Kyle?
None of this happened. How old were you when you Rambo style sewed your stomach together?
Look at this. I'm from a rural place, right? Grew up in Rivers.
Oh, I don't know what that's like at all.
This is commonplace where I'm from. A lot of drunk people, like getting cut. You get cut, you get your head split open. I got kicked in the face with a hockey skate right there, and it split my face open. My coach took white tape, wrapped it around my head, and put me. I didn't miss a shift. That was me at 9 or 10 years old. So by the time this happened, I got cut. I got beat up all the time, and my father was just a nightmare.
Do you have a good relationship with your dad now? Or
He's dead.
I don't know if he's alive or not. I'll get your dad. Too much drinking and swinging knives around. Did anything like that happen again?
No. I was like, I didn't go back home for like a week. Kind of like stayed in the fort, and then went to my grandfather's house, and then Uncle Bobby went away, and we just we weren't a family that talked about shit. It's like I just kind of came home one day, and he's sitting there, he's always at work, and he's at the factory or at the bar or in jail or something. So I come home, I avoid him. I think I avoided him for like a month. Had my eye contact. Fine, I need a ride to practice. All right, get in the car. So that's kind of how it was. I sat there and I probably didn't talk to him for the rest of my life.
Was your dad in and out of jail, you said?
Yeah. He had issues.
What did he go in for? I mean, violent stuff, it sounds like.
Bar fights. He's gotten a lot of angry guy. Bar fights, petty criminal. He stole some shit, and but we were lucky because it's a small town, so you go in and some of the people I know were law enforcement or judiciary, so we kind of had help. And then a lot of times they just put him in a nut house. They take him over and put him in a place called Jones, which is a psychiatric ward at the local hospital. So he spent a lot of time in there.
Reagan got rid of those, didn't he? All those psych wards. Wasn't that a big thing that he
turned
took
them loose,
for?
put them out on the street?
Yeah, and then like a lot of them ended, or just like put them in prison. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe it was like he's releasing these insane people, and then they go out in the world and they commit crimes, or they're homeless and like do something transient or illegal, and then they're thrown into prison with like real criminals, and it's just like someone who had a paranoid schizophrenia. Did you ever hear about that, Woody?
Yeah. This is, as far as I know, that's all right.
Yeah. Because like, are they back now? Like they don't really.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they don't
I don't
really
think
have
there are
been
mental
undone.
No,
That's what homeless are
problem.
oftentimes. People.
For sure.
I was just downtown last week. I'm making a music video, and I went down to shoot some video down there. And again, I spent some time with my father. He exposed me to this type of it's psychosis, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very recognizable. The gait, the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, all the indicators are. 99% of the people I saw downtown, and I saw hundreds. I mean, downtown LA has blocks and blocks of tent villages, and the gait, the walk, you can tell some are on medications. They just kind of not. There's no reality. There's thousands of them down there, and those are the individuals that should be sort of being helped in an institution someplace, but they don't exist. We have an old prison that could easily be transitioned into some type of facility to help these folks, but we don't have the political will to say, look, let's put them in there, get them help, get them treatment, but we don't want to. But it's about their dignity. They're you don't want to infringe on their dignity. Well, you live in a fucking street. Where's the dignity in that?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's. I mean, a lot of it. Very few people that I believe on the street that I've run into are there because they want to be, or because they have a choice not to be. It's not,
or even if they are making that choice, they're not capable of making that choice, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I was in Seattle, that's the worst I've ever. I mean, I've seen the tent villages in LA, and it's awful. But there was something about seeing them in Seattle, where like we went down by, I don't know if it's called the wharf or whatever, but it's like down by the water where all the there's like a carousel, and like it's where all those seafood restaurants are. It's a real nice little trendy area, and we all went down there for dinner. And then we started walking back to the hotel. It's maybe half a mile walk. Like everything's uphill in Seattle for some reason. And like we just walked through this area, and there they are. They're just coming out of the shadows like a Michael Jackson Thriller video. Just like 80, 90 of them. Just like walk. And I don't know if it was like methadone night or like they were all heading toward the same place for some reason or another. But it was ridiculous. And then the same thing in Atlanta. Whenever I picked Chiz up from the bus station that time, they were having they had the food truck out there that was giving away like the meals for all the homeless, these styrofoam plate meals, and there must have been between 50 and 100 of them like lined up getting these meals, and then you could see them like they get the meal, and it was probably like a sandwich and some chips and an apple or something like that, because like they eat it rapidly and then throw the fucking styrofoam plate on the ground, and so you just saw them like tumbling in the wind every fucking where all throughout like that park area. It was absurd. Super fucked up. That's where like Chiz got off the bus or train or whatever the fuck it was, whatever mode of transportation from the 1800s he picked that week.
Horse and carriage.
He got off the fucking carriage and like immediately got propositioned for weed. Like he's like, I just had stepped foot into the state of Georgia, and this guy was like, yo, you want some weed? And I was like, just everywhere.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I guess. I'm not gonna say no.
I took the bus so I could bring my own, bud.
Now
You St. Louis guys, you guys hip to Kathleen Madigan, comedian?
I've heard the name, but I couldn't put her name, to a face. Yeah, I'm not that.
She has a whole thing she does on homeless people. It's funny experience. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think I don't like the homeless. I think we should do something not with them, but to them.
You know, we need, you know, with all these professional sports, just all it seems like every single professional sport, of the four major ones here, all the ratings are going down. People are losing interest. We could
Create a new one
sport,
where the homeless
a
people
new
are
sport
fodder?
with the homeless. No, they're not fodder. They're paid. I won't say well, but better than homeless. You know, like pay them $15 an hour, and then you just
They're
invent
paid a
sport.
non-zero sum of money to do
A non-zero sum of money. And it starts out with just like making a mirror league to the NFL. And it's the HFL, the Homeless Football League. And like the recently homeless football league. You know, they'd have to do some marketing, punch it up, you know, show like, look, we got a fucking we got a storage container they all live in now. They love it.
So what you're saying is the bum fights guy was a hero ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
Well, he was a little. Well, you know what? I like it. It was great. Because bum fights was entertaining as hell, but I think it's a little. Kyle used Kyle's word gauche at this point. It's overdone. Bum fights has been done. Are we going to double dip in that? No.
No,
They're
no,
more
we don't go
creative
back
ways.
to that.
We have millions of homeless people to utilize. We don't go to one-on-one fighting. We could do war reenactments with them. All sorts of things.
Guys,